All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this Boudoir photography business. We're going to see if it has BSS for its local search, Naperville, Iowa, or for its city search, Naperville, Illinois, and its city search, Chicago, Illinois. All right, so we're in the GBC universe, taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. And our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we're rising, that means we're attracting, we're bringing in people across the entire intent ladder, high intent to low intent. If we're falling, we're missing peeps somewhere along the intent ladder. We're not successfully bringing them in, or even making them aware we exist. So BSS, focusing here on this, this profile, this brand, focusing on the highest intent buyers searching right now for boudoir photo shoots right in their city, social search and Google search. Then our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, focusing on BLCS. Right now we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. And that's actually going to be the lowest intent people, in any location, but it's going to have the highest number of them. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And as a result, if we got 0 slots, we're basically dead, kind of dead in the water for on page 2 or deeper. And that's because we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 only Google searches. So they never even go to page 2. So we care about this 80% cohort. This is the bulk of the market. So if we're in 0 slots on page 1, we're invisible to them because they ain't clicking any page deeper at all. Now, if we got 1 slot on page 1, it's also as boudoir search sameness because we're looking the same as every other boudoir photographer. Everyone else on page 1's got most likely 1 link. So anyone going down the Google search, they're clicking us, they're clicking first link, second link, third link, all 10 links, opening up everyone, contacting everyone, getting a quote from everyone, price shopping everyone. And so boudoir search sameness, not good for us. Now, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is actually not normal, extremely common, but to have that few number of slots page 1 of Google is not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are 1, which many people know about, which is market saturation, and 2, which basically nobody knows about, is the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, it's when someone gets a new iPhone, all of a sudden they're throwing up, Google My Business profile, Google My Business profile, basically increasing and throwing up their website, competing more for page 1 dominance, or they get a new camera, then they start posting them on Facebook groups. So basically they're increasing the supply of boudoir photographers where the number of buyers in the market remains fixed, which means it's making it harder for every current boudoir photographer to get clients. A big tsunami when that happened was when we had COVID. So when we had COVID, massive, when people lost their jobs, they still need to earn an income. So a lot of them came out as boudoir photographers, saturating the market, making it harder for all the current sellers. Now, the second deeper root cause is the false belief of page 1 equality. This is what I've seen is the number 1 killer of boudoir photography businesses. It's basically kind of this false belief is assuming that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, as a result, we, if you got 1 slot, okay, got 1 slot on page 1 and get some more market saturation. All right, we're pushed down onto, basically we're pushed on to, page 2, but that's fine because every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1. So I guess it's not my time anymore. Hopefully they, they shut down their website. So maybe I got a chance to go back on page 1. But no, that is 100% incorrect. Google actually wants to give as many page 1 slots to the boudoir photographer that wants as many as they'll put in the effort to acquire. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 on Google in only 10 days. And so I know for a fact Google will give the slots to those who truly want them. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Because yeah, dude, basically we're either got 0 slots on page 1, so on page 2 or deeper. And again, approximately 80% of searchers. The bulk of the market ain't never going to see us because they're page 1 only. And then for 1 slot on page 1, we don't stand out. We're not different. We're being price shopped against everyone who also has, 1 slot on page 1. So what's the solution? We got the solution. BSS is treated with social search saturation SQ'd methodology. We know this is a solution because we invented it. Again, this is what I used to go from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 in 10 days, Google page 1 search. And this is actually the only solution I've seen that can successfully fight back against market saturation. Basically, we saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, so we show up there. And once we saturate there, the outcome is actually that flows into those results actually flow onto Google page 1 or Google. And if we get enough signals, obviously that puts us a higher chance Google puts us at Google page 1. So the SQ'd methodology, to use it, we have to accept page 1 equality as a false belief, which kind of breaks that brain barrier to, okay, what's the solution we can use? SQ'd methodology. And it's the only thing that I've seen that actually can successfully fight back against market saturation for boudoir photographers, because imagine we're in San Jose, California. It's a million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website. We're one of the boudoir photographers. Everyone's trying to be ranked page 1 Google, but we employ SQ'd methodology to the max, where we're taking up the first 300 slots for social search on all the platforms for our highest intent buyer keywords, which then flows onto Google. And let's say we're the first 300 slots on Google for our highest intent keywords as well. Well, that means literally the first 30 pages is filled up with only us on Google organic search. And so when we have that, buyers got to go to page 31 to essentially find any other competitors, and no one's going to page 31. So buyers can essentially only find us. So even if there's max a ton of boudoir photographers, market gets more and more saturated, we stay dominating page 1, which is actually where the bulk of searches stop. 80% of them, approximately 80% of them. So whose business is growing? Our business is growing. Whose business is disappearing? Everyone else. Even though the market's super saturated. Now, once you're with SQ'd methodology, we have page 1 visibility. Page 1 visibility is getting at least 2 out of 10 slots on page 1, where we're actually looking different. We do have a GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 though, 3 slots out of 10 slots. And once we actually achieve that, we get an extra bonus, which is for every new slot we take up on page 1, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So this is kind of an extra bonus of ranking on page 1, is we're actually kicking a competitor off page 1, and we already know approximately 80% of searchers never even go to page 2. So we effectively make our competitors invisible. But we do want to hit the GBC minimum of at least 3 out of 10. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So we don't have 0 out of 1. 0 slots on page 1. We don't have 1 slot on page 1. We do not have 2 slots on page 1. Well, 2 slots on page 1 means we don't have BSS, but that means we have not hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And we want to hit that because we actually if we got 3 out of 10 on page 1, we're kicking 2 competitors off. or maybe even 3. Also, we're going to look way more visible than simply having the people with 1 link. And very rarely will there be someone else with two links, but we'll look even better than them as well. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer. So we got to get visible. So this is our universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by kind of the dual horns of market saturation and page 1 equality, the false belief of page 1 equality. And we achieve, or we utilize S-cube methodology. That's our solution. We achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. So my results using this is my own S-cubed methodology for myself. I wanted to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So came in here, gonna look at the organic, and got organic slot 1, Instagram, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, slot 5, slot 6, slot 7, slot 8, and slot 10. So we've got 9 out of 10 slots on Google here, simply from utilizing our S-cubed methodology. And this went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. All right, now into the main event here. We're going to see this boudoir photography business, if they got BSS for either their local search of Naperville, Illinois, or their city search of Chicago, Illinois. So, all right, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got cooking. So we're in Naperville first. So, boom, we got one. We got 1 slot. Boom, we got 2 slots. All right, nice. So for local search, we do not have BSS boudoir search sameness. We got 2 out of 10 slots, but we did not meet the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google. Next, let's go look at city search Chicago. Super competitive here. So let's see. All right, we want to see how many slots we got here. All right, we actually got 0 out of 10 slots for the city search. I mean, Chicago is super competitive, so no surprises there. So no BSS for local, yes BSS for city search, but for both local and city search, we did not meet the GBC recommended of 3 out of 10 slots in Google page 1 search. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've done your local searches, your city searches for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your areas, and you're saying you have BSS for at least one of those searches, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 of Google search for at least one of those searches, and you've accepted that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief, and Google actually will give us and wants to give us as many page 1 slots on Google as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And you've been looking for some like S-cube methodology. S-cube methodology is your one path forward that you can see that will actually help you, get all these slots. And you like the initial benefits, more slots page 1 Google search, and you really like kicking your competing boudoir photographers off page 1 Google search, effectively making them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. You like those. You also understand the market saturation. Yeah, more peeps become boudoir photographers over time. Okay, yeah, who doesn't know that? But you're thinking ahead and you're being like, man, AI is taking more and more peeps jobs. Last time that happened, COVID, and people lost their jobs, but people still had to earn money. So everyone's got a high-powered smartphone, ultra-powered camera. So tons of peeps became boudoir photographers then. So you're like, oh no, there's actually going to be more and more and more boudoir photographers entering the marketplace because they lost their jobs, still got to earn money. Way above and on top of the people that are simply naturally are upgrading their gear. So you're actually realizing, man, I actually got to fortify my position on page 1, and I have like so many page 1 links that Google is ranking me for on page 1 that Google actually runs out and starts putting my page 1 worthy links to force them to start filling out page 2, 3, and 4. And you need to fortify because you actually got to keep current competing boudoir photographers from ever ranking page 1 Google search, and as also any new boudoir photographers that come in losing their job due to AI, remember ranking page 1 Google search. So you got to fortify your position like fortifying those levees down in New Orleans, Louisiana. And so you're liking that future benefit, kind of fortification. You want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you need these things on your way to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. You also understand execute and execute methodology correctly every single day. We're actually throwing up basically creating invisible thematic keyword columns in our brand, kind of attached, plugged into our brand. And as a result, we're building up this like massive backend AI keyword mindshare with all these highest intent boudoir buyer keywords plugged into our brand. So every new day we execute this, we get the benefits of higher probability being recommended here, AI overview right at the top, most premium organic placement on Google search or any search, whoever's using Bing search out there, and also increasing the probability that AI apps recommend us in parallel. ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, they all run on the same backend thematic keyword kind of mindshare system, where it's looking at repetition, relevance, age, authority with all these different keywords. And that AI searches, dude, it's getting larger and larger, more and more and more every single day. And so, like in those feature benefits, and actually last time I did AI search with wall photographers in the city, it was with ChatGPT, and dude, it returned me 3. When I did a manual search, Google search, manual Facebook search, I found like 60. So it's like, man, we gotta get these slots any way possible. And you're seeing SQ methodology is the only thing that kind of enables the speedy creation of these invisible thematic keyword columns compared to any other solution out there. You also like future benefit, building a large, well-known brand approximately 8x faster than normal methods or methods everyone else is using, because we're doing much higher volume across many more surfaces. And you also understand that since my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, you also like that you have a chance to get all these benefits and prevent all your competitors from getting these benefits. So you can actually build up a massive backlog of page one worthy links ahead of your competitors and build up massive backend AI keyword mindshare, again, ahead of all your competitors. Basically make a big gap between all your current competitors and future competitors as AI takes their job, and kind of in preparation for that. And well, I mean, that's already happening already. And because of that, you decided to be first mover in your city, adopt this technology, be the first one so you can box everyone else out, because you understand the converse is if one of your competing boudoir photographers in your city signs on with me to use this first, then you're actually going to be, well, in order for you to compete, you're going to have to increase, or actually for first, you'd have to rederive SQ methodology for yourself. Well, actually derive it for the first time for yourself. And you would never actually be 100% confident you've derived it correctly, because we're the ones that invented it. And as a result of that, you'd be, you then have to equal our execution every single day in order to, and that would happen after that is you would maintain the gap that we currently have ahead of you, me and your competitor. So to make any headway, you'd actually have to double or triple our execution every single day. And in order for you to do that, well, you still wouldn't be even 100% confident executing this strategy, because you wouldn't be 100% confident you've correctly derived SQ methodology in the first place. And you'd be looking at all this and be like, dude, who's got 80 hours per day to do all this stuff? And so you realize all that, and you decide, oh, screw that. You're simply going to be the first mover in your city, because this opportunity is too good to pass up. And so if that's you, shoot us a DM. Hospital is currently closed for new patient intake, so even if you want to work with us, you cannot. But when the hospital does open for new patient intake, shoot us a DM, and we will see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.